What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Risk, and we back with another video. I'm glad to be back on your screen, alright? And we already know in this video I'm dropping a build video related to the stretch big. I'm going to show you guys two different stretch big videos, or not videos, but two different stretch big builds, alright, that fit two different, completely different play styles. And I'm honestly just trying to put the stretch big back on the map and trying to make it a popular build once again. I could assure you these builds will get you a very solid build. So make sure you drop a like and a sub on the video, hit the notification bell, and let's get right into the video.
She know I keep the bag on me. How I got a couple racks on me. I'ma hit it, then I dip. No, I do not trust a bitch, cause they all be the same to me. All these thoughts always running through my head. I'ma get the bag, double back for the bread. I'd rather smoke a blunt, kicking back in my bed. And yeah, she in my line, cause she know I'm getting bread.
Alright, so this stretch big build, I'm going to show you guys first, is going to be the center position. Alright, this is going to be the one that's pretty much going to be your big body type stretch build. Alright, you're going to go for a build that actually could defend in the paint. Not so much in the perimeter, but could defend in the paint. Not as fast as a normal stretch. So it's pretty much a glass lock, but with much better shooting abilities. So obviously, with that being said, we're gonna go with the pie chart that has the highest shooting with no questions. And for a physical profile, it's always an interesting one when it comes to physical profile. We don't really care about speed too much, so I think we're just gonna go with the one that contains the highest strength and vertical, because we need both of those, all right, to help us get boards, because we're already at a disadvantage walking onto the court. All right, so considering we now have that, we're gonna get into the attributes. All right, and when we talk about attributes, it's nothing too complicated when it comes to a stretch big. It's pretty obvious. All right, we're gonna go with shooting, obviously, but first we'll upgrade our finishing, and we'll play around with this a little bit later. But we're gonna upgrade for now our close shot, our standing dunk, and driving layup, and see where that gets us. Now shooting, obviously we're gonna max out 84 3-pointer, but that will drop once we adjust other things. And for the defense, we're gonna upgrade the most important attributes we need. We don't really want to focus too much on perimeter defense rather than our interior defense. But no matter what we do, we'll be able to get around 9 or 8 defensive badges, which is more than enough. Do not get me wrong, that is more than enough badges than we need. Alright, so you see right here I'm kind of just tinkering around with the badges. We are at a solid 30 shooting badges, which we plan on staying at. I'm not going to lower that for something else. I'm trying I was trying to finesse here to see see if I was able to get 2 finishing badges. Was pretty much the process I had going on here. But just looking at it, it just wasn't worth it, doing all the stuff I was doing to try to get an extra finishing badge, which I really won't be finishing much anyways. I think my 70 standing dunk will get me contact dunks. And having that high close shot will just help me a little bit in the paint, but nothing too crazy. But once again, that's not the main premise of this build. But when we look at the badges, other than that, like I said, 30 shooting, 9 defensive is more than enough than we need to actually be good on this build. Now we're going to move on to our body shape, right? And just for the purpose of this main stretch build, I'm going to go burly, just for the fact that, like I said, we're kind of playing like that glass lock type, where we're going to lock down the inside of the paint. So that's why I'm going burly. Now, I'm looking at the height here, and I'm looking at 7'3", and I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to be honest right now. When this game first came out, I was honestly tempted to make a 7'3" stretch big. I thought 2K18 was coming back all over again, because you're looking at a 78 3-pointer, but then once we realized how the gameplay was this year, it's just the speed, vertical, and acceleration are just far too low. But regardless, I would love to try out a 7'3" stretch big. So if anybody has a 7'3" stretch big account for some reason, let me know down below in the comments and let me know if I could borrow it. But when we talk about this build, we don't want to go 7'3", obviously. We don't want to go 7'2". We want to go 7'1". I think that's going to be the perfect height, because when we look at 7'1", we still have an 82 3-point shot. Alright, we lose a little bit in our driving layup and driving dunk, but we get it up in our interior defense, up coming from, 7 feet or taller. And our physicals are such a speed, strength, and vertical, and excel didn't really take that much of a hit, which, I don't mind. Alright, so that carries us into the weight. Alright, when we talk about weight, we want to find, a good weight that actually helps our strength, because remember, we are focusing on the interior defense, which is what a stretch big always lacks and why it can't run the center. So we're going to get the, this weight up there to, what I think is going to be the best, possible weight. And I think, to me, it's going to be around 273. This will get us an 82 strength and won't dip our vertical not even 1 point. So now, knowing that we've selected the weight, we're going to move into the wingspan. Now, if our wingspan, another interesting, category for a stretch build that honestly takes some time to think about. In most years with stretch bigs, you would go minimum arms to get the highest 3-point possible, because we did not really care about defense. But I feel like on this build, like I said, on this particular build, we care about defense and locking down the interior. So to me, I think we should go max wingspan. Yes, our three ball is going to go lower, but just think about the defense we have. We are 7'1", 270 pounds with a 95 wingspan. You cannot tell me that this build will not be able to defend in the paint. You cannot tell me that. Alright? So when we're going for our takeover now, it's honestly interesting between rim and sharpshooter. You could honestly go both ways with either or. I'll be completely honest with you. You could go either or with these. I would probably give the edge to, you know, I would say rim. I would say rim because we could already shoot, so we just want to, you know, help out our defense once more, which is the main purpose of this build. It's a stretch build that could shoot, obviously, and we're just, you know, trying to find the best way to get the highest possible, you know, defensive ratings and, you know, the best defense overall in this build. And you see it creates us a 3-level score, and I'll actually get into the badges, you know, on the second build, because when it comes to the shooting badges, it is pretty much, you know, very similar. So I'll just show you guys that in the second build. Now, when we talk about this build, this is going to be obviously once again another stretch build, but it's going to be what I consider more of like the 2's core stretch big, you know, the more versatile stretch big, the stretch big that has more speed to it, the one that you could actually move around with like we're normally used to. We're used to these stretch bigs that can, you know, dex on the inbound, left, right, dribble, get open, fade away. That's the stretches we're used to, where like we like to have fun on. So that's, you know, what this, you know, build is going to be for. Alright, so with the physical profile, you'll see obviously on this one, I'm not going to pick the second one. I'm going to end up picking probably, I would say, the last one. Alright, because the last one is the most balanced one, so you can't really go wrong with it. And I don't want to lose too much in that speed, which is why I don't go with the second one. And we don't really care about strength and vertical as much, but we still want that, you know, on the build. Now, for our attributes, we're going to go, like I said, we're going to get the close shot max for now. Upgrade the shooting all the way max. And defense, same premise. We're going to max the defense with the important stats to where we can get the most defensive badges, which in this build would leave us with about 7, I believe, not 9, because we are a power forward. In case you did not catch that, you will get more defensive badges on a center than a power forward. So right now we're playing around with the badges. We'll have a little bit more attribute upgrades, you know, since we don't have so much on our defense, which we're going to try to finesse on our finishing. Alright, you see we get the 85 shot close, the 63 driving layups, 59 driving dunk, and the 55 standing dunk. So obviously we're not going to be able to get contact dunks on this or anything like that, but, you know, doesn't really matter if we know what we're going to be using this build for. So obviously body shape, you could go whatever you want, but for the height, this is where the build's completely different than the other one. All right, we're talking about going 6'10", and I'm gonna tell you why. All right, the taller you go, obviously your speed goes lower, your 3-point shot goes lower, all that stuff. But, you know, this will allow us to have a 90+3 or 91.3 actually, which means, as you see, when we lower the wingspan, we have a 91.3, which means that once we get 99 overall, we'll get a 95.3. And if we play with a point guard that has Hall of Fame floor general, we will have a 99 3-point rating, which was the main, goal of making the stretch build this certain way, to make it a smaller, faster stretch big that could shoot phenomenally. This is going to be the best shooting stretch big on the game. It's literally proven this is the best shooting stretch big possible on this game. So if you want to be a dominant shooting stretch big, you make this build right here. If you want to, go for the more competitive, type of stretch big where you can run the center position on the 3's court, maybe even Pro-Am, run the power forward in Pro-Am, then you make the first stretch big video or build I showed you. Alright, so now with this one, we're going to switch the takeover up. Remember, we're not caring about our defense on this one, so we're going to end up taking the spot up shooter takeover to cap off this build. Like, y'all cannot tell me this build is bad. You're getting a 6'10 player who's obviously tall. Like, 6'10, you might think of it short, but it's pretty tall. It's pretty tall, alright? That's easily able to run at the center position. I literally play 2s with my friend who's a 6'6 lockdown. And defensively, we had no issues whatsoever. He was able to get boards, and we were able to win, pretty good. And when we was playing, I was on my guard, and I was not scoring the ball, and we were still winning, bro. So that just proves you don't really need to worry about your height. You could definitely use this build in the 2's court. So like I said, I'm going to just go over generically what badges you should put on. Obviously, catch and shoot on either of these builds is going to be essential. Same with range extender. And Hot Zone Hunter and Green Machine. Obviously, considering we have 30 badges, you might as well throw those on. Quick Draw Hall of Fame, I recommend, but it's obviously, personal preference. You could play around with that to your likings. On the stretch bigs, on both stretch bigs, actually, I would recommend Dead Hall of Fame, especially the taller one, because the taller one, you're going to have a slower release no matter what, since you're 7'1". So having that Deadeye, reducing the percentage on the closeout will actually increase your chances of making your shot tremendously. And then your other badges really depend on what your play style is. I mean, if we're talking about the center that's 7'1", that's your big body center, you're gonna want to have pick and popper Hall of Fame. If you are using this stretch and you're playing on the threes court, you might want to get a badge, maybe like, let's say, slippery off ball. You could try something out like that. So like, it really just depends when it comes to like your last around 10 badge points. But with the generic ones, obviously it's gonna be range extender, hot zone hunter, quick draw, green machine, catch and shoot, pick and popper, dead eye. Another good one is hot start. If you have like 2 badge points left, I'd put it on that. Steady shooter I would not recommend. Tireless shooter I wouldn't recommend. I mean, you could use it, but I don't think it's necessary. Volume shooter, if you can. Volume shooter is really good, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess like in this situation you could substitute pick and popper for volume shooter, but it's just all about you testing it out, really. I mean, with 30 shooting badges, no matter what, you're gonna be shooting the ball good no matter what badge combination you use. You can't really mess up on these badges. So now I'm going to go into the defensive badges, alright? And on this build, we only have 7, but remember the other one has 9, so just keep them in the back of your head. So for this build right here, for this specific one, I would recommend you go with the Interceptor and Intimidator Gold for sure, 100%. Just for the fact that with this build, we're not going to be running the center at all. So we got to think about how else can we be effective, not guarding or playing the center role. And I think Interceptor will help a lot, being able to read passing lanes. And, if we are stuck on the center at some point, we could actually, maybe tip the pass before it actually gets into the center down at the low block. Intimidator, obviously, you want to contest people in the perimeter. And then that last one, I would recommend Clamster so you could prevent the blow-bys. But if we're talking about the build that, comes with the 9 defensive badges, our 7'1" build, I would recommend you get... it's obviously hard to show here because I only have 7 badge points, but I'd recommend you get something like Gold Rebound Chaser, Silver Box, Gold Rim Protector, and then Bronze Brick Wall. And the reason I put it in this, way is because you don't really need Brick Wall Gold. I'll be honest with you, you don't need a gold. I'll be completely honest, you do not need that gold. I'd rather prioritize Box so you can get more rebounds and stuff like that. But like I said, it's all up to you with the badges. You could go check out all my other videos, pertaining to specific builds if you want to know, get more in depth on these badges. But other than that, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. Make sure you smack a like and the sub on the video, hit that notification bell. It's your boy Risk with the best stretch big build on the game. And I'm out.
Funny how now she be calling me back. She see that I got it, I'm stuck in the trap. 40 autos, let me put it right back. 40 autos and he left in the back. I can't be trusting cause people just act. I get the money, I run it right back. The plug on my phone, I get to these racks. The plug on my phone, I'm gonna get back. I can't be trusting cause people be switching and